Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar called Delivering Advanced Cyber Defense with Microsoft XDR, MSSP Capabilities and Architecture, hosted
Good
by
evening.
Cloud Security Alliance.
Everyone.
Good evening. We're excited to have you today for this deep dive into how modern security operations can be transformed through Microsoft native solutions, Sentinel, Defender XDR, and Security Copilot, combined with Ernst & Young's MSSP architecture. Today, we'll explore how these technologies integrate to deliver centralized multi-tenant security operations, enhance security operations center efficiency through automation and threat intelligence, and reinforce zero trust principles. You'll gain insights into custom use cases, onboarding strategies, and how compliance and governance are embedded into this advanced architecture. Our goal is to discuss not just about technical design, but also the operational excellence that drives scalable and secure environment in today's clouds first world. Today's speakers are well-known professionals in the cybersecurity field, bringing a wealth of experience and practical knowledge. And of course, Ernst & Young is recognized globally as a leading organization with an outstanding level of professionalism and expertise in security services. So get ready for an interactive session packed with knowledge and practical takeaways. Let's begin. Just two additional words about the presentation. It will be divided into a couple of chapters, and after each chapter, you'll have the chance to address any questions you might have directly to our guest today. And with this, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriela, and hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the session today on Advanced Cyber Defense with Microsoft XDR, delivered by me and my colleagues, Ovidiu and Ionut. All three of us working for UI, Ernst & Young, as cybersecurity architects. So let's start by looking at the agenda that you can see now on the screen. And and the agenda is referring to the organization today, which are at the point where, in order to accelerate the digital transformation, they are actually adopting multi-cloud environments, and they're increasingly rely on AI-driven capability. This is why the cyber threat landscape is evolving faster than ever. Today, I will walk you through how Microsoft MXDR platform combined with our UI advanced cyber operation and accreditation services creates a resilient defense ecosystem that protects identities, data, cloud platforms, and AI workloads. So we will begin by looking at the Microsoft MXDR solution. Then we will go through and have a look how the zero trust architecture is operational using technologies such as Entra, Defender, Sentinel, Purview. We will then look at data security and compliance. We will continue with continuous accreditation in the cloud, and we will close with threat monitoring landscape monitored by SOC security operation centers. So let's start with the first chapter, which is the Microsoft MXDR solution. This slide that you can see now on the screen gives us a high-level view on how UI delivers advanced cyber defense on top of Microsoft MXDR platform. The goal is to provide zero trust driven intelligence end-to-end security services. As you can see on the slide on the left, you can see the core services that UI brings into the client environment, and that are the deployment and configuration of the XDR security platform, ensure that the environment is built correctly from the first day. We also execute playbooks and automate response workflow. We align with UI cyber operation best practices, which ensures that the processes, the governance, and the operational maturity increase over time for the enterprise which adopts such a model. In the middle, you can see the MXDR wheel, which goes through the MXDR capabilities. This combines the Microsoft Security Technology Stack with our 24/7 operational expertise. And the elements, as you can see, are threat modeling, threat hunting, service management, incident response, CM plus XDR response management. On the right side, you can see what are the business outcomes that a company would have if using such a solution, which would be 24/7 threat monitoring, MITRE attack-based detection, protective threat hunting across the cloud and on-premise, and an unified incident response that covers compliance and threat remediation. So this is the operational heart of an advanced cyber defense, bringing together Microsoft technology and UI cyber operational expertise. And in the next slide, we will see how UI enhances the Microsoft Cloud Security portfolio. This is why on the left side are the native Microsoft Cloud components that most organizations are using today. And as the Azure platform as the foundation, that going further with Entra ID and Zero Trust for identity control, Defender XDR and Sentinel for detection and response, Purview DSPM and Compliance Manager for the data governance, Azure policy and automation, and the multi-cloud visibility. These are powerful capabilities, but UI brings his value-added services on top of that. And here is what it brings, and you can see that on the right side. We actually design and implement secure cloud architecture using zero trust principle, and we embed that from day one of the configuration. We deliver governance, risk, and compliance services, helping organizations align with industry and national standards. Our MXDR team provides 24/7 monitoring and rapid incident response on top of the Microsoft stack. We also support AI and data governance, which is really the buzzword today, ensuring safe adoption of generative AI and sensitive data protection. Finally, we also support accreditation and assurance and multi-cloud integration, helping customers navigate the compliance burden of regulation today. So the message here would be that Microsoft provides an incredible strong cloud security foundation, and UI amplifies that with sharing his design and expertise from implementation at different customers. And now I will leave Ovid to take the lead
Sure, Lena, yeah, thank
to
you very
go
much
into
for
the
this presentation.
architecture.
Thank you very much for this presentation, and let's deep dive into the architecture of the MXDR solutions. So as you can probably imagine, yeah, managing the multi-tenant security for MSSP is quite complex nowadays. So that's why in front of you, I'm going to be like 3 flavors of the architecture that we have. So as you can see, we have plenty of services that needs to be configured, and with this, we enumerate like Sentinel, Defender XDR, Purview, Copilot across everywhere. So within the standalone embedded and the agentic experience, as well as we have quite different identity models here to manage, like with Lighthouse, GDAP, B2B, or even the MTO portal. Our customers, of course, they want control, but we as MSSP we want scale, right? So how do we do this to work? So what you will see here, probably you are all familiar with this approach with Lighthouse, and but at the middle year of the next year, probably this is going to be legacy, because Microsoft is evolving this every day actually, and it's basically putting all together all security services into the XDR portal. So as Rena was mentioning, we are using a flexible approach, and this architecture assumes that our customers want a multitude of services here from our side to be managed, and they have E5, so they benefit of all security stack. right? And depending basically on the services in scope, the customer size, and considering the number of the endpoints and users that our customer have, we are bringing our shared workforce for them to bring to basically help our SMB customer to be protected, right? So uh, within our workforce, we can enumerate like from the service management and governance, like a SOC manager or a quality lead. We can see also technology and platform engineering team with the security engineers and the platform cybersecurity architects, as well as we are bringing the SOC team as well. And yeah, as you can see on the right, everything is into the customer tenant, so we're not keeping anything in our customer tenants. So we have like the data, the logs, the security services, the playbooks, and the analytical rules into the customer tenant, into our MSSP tenant with the help of Lighthouse. We can manage the customer services as they are in our tenant, but technically they aren't. So we manage like Sentinel all capabilities of Sentinel that are deployed into the customer tenant. We are bringing as a baseline like ready to use 100 custom use cases with a good coverage over the meter mapping and the resource types, together with the playbooks and the automation rules. Also, probably you are seeing Security Copilot twice. It's not wrong. So back into this year, into February, Microsoft has announced that with the Lighthouse integration, we can use Security Copilot SEUs from ourselves. So we buy the SEUs and we can use for your workspace in Sentinel. But we are not sure we understand exactly why, because Lighthouse is going to be deprecated and the SEUs can be shared from the MSSP tenant towards the customer tenant only with Lighthouse for the moment, but probably the capabilities will extend to other approaches as well. And also, nowadays or later in the past, we have also Defender for Cloud. So this is still an Azure workload. So it's managed with the Azure RBAC roles, and that's why Lighthouse can be integrated with this as well. So through Defender for Cloud, we can manage subscriptions and AWS and GCP accounts, and we can manage the security recommendation and do a plan management of all the services, right? But this is basically where the Lighthouse capabilities stop, right? Because we have only Sentinel and Defender for Cloud as Azure resources that can be used with Azure RBAC, right? And then how do we manage the customer XDR platform? Well, we have like two solutions, GDAP and B2B approach. GDAP currently, is a quite new solution. It's removing the DAP solution, and it's not supporting Sentinel for the moment. And yeah, it's only mainly for the Entra roles. But in our opinion, it falls a bit short if the customer wants to use local RBAC, right, for Defender, for Purview, for Intune, for example. And these custom roles into the local RBAC can be assigned only to a group level. But with GDAP, we also don't have an identity into the customer tenant. So that's why nowadays, when yeah, basically, we are using together with Lighthouse the B2B approach, either with the cross-tenant sync or with the entitlement management. I will get into details to the next slide onto this, because this will be the main approach starting when we're going to migrate Sentinel into the unified portal. And of course, as you can see on the left, we can sync everything, all the incidents into ServiceNow, or we can even benefit of ServiceNow for the change management. Now, our second flavor of architecture is after the unified portal. So after we bring Sentinel into the unified portal, and now in public preview is also Defender for Cloud is brought into the XDR portal. So you could see a small button there called Cloud Infrastructure. And I think Microsoft will also evolve this and include more options. So even today, like with the unified portal consolidation, even the Sentinel workloads and data, nothing really goes away. But we basically changed the priority of access management method, right? So for the daily operations, Lighthouse access is no longer necessary when operating either normal Defender portal or in MTO, since the Sentinel UI is no longer into the Azure portal, right? So to get more confusion now, Lighthouse can still be used for other Azure management work. So for example, for managing a customer infrastructure that can be managed with the Azure RBAC roles, but most likely we are going to leverage the already used B2B approach here as well. We can see that what disappears is what I talked about, security copilot via Lighthouse. It's no longer possible because we don't have a Lighthouse. So with the GDAP and B2B, from what we read, the SEUs can be leveraged only from the customer. If we want, for example, to use security copilot, we cannot use our SEUs, but we need to use the customer SEUs. Defender for Cloud, also, you will see it onto the right side. So as I mentioned, is in public preview. The MFA now can be trusted across tenants. So for example, if we elevate for, or if, for example, we input our MFA in our tenant, we configure the customer tenant to trust our MFA. And of course, with this B2B approach, we can leverage basically the unified XDR RBAC, whereas, for example, we have an engineer that focuses only on vulnerability management. I don't know. And instead of giving him like security administrator or security operator and have a view across all the security services, we are just creating a custom XDR RBAC role, and we are assigning that to a group where we belong. But we don't belong there all the time. That group is grouped into PIM for groups. And basically, whenever we want to have those permissions into the customer tenant, we need to elevate for our membership into that group. So you see probably there cross-tenant sync and access packages or B2B entitlement management, right? We prefer, to be honest, the cross-tenant sync for different reasons. So first is that it's an automatic lifecycle management, whereas the access packages is a self-service access request for the B2B. It's a centralized, so the home tenant pushes users to basically in the other tenant. The user provisioning is automated every 40 minutes versus on demand. We have type, like even though, for example, we are invited, we can be also members or guests, whereas for the access packages is with guests. For the user experience is transparent, so we don't see anything. Versus where the user, for example, they need to request access from my access portal. And the provisioning is also automatic when the user moves out of the scope in the source tenant versus automatic when the access packages expires. And now our third flavor of architecture is the most simplest one, so to say. So it's mainly intended for the big customers where they want our workforce to be brought into their tenants. So they're not giving us possibility with the B2B approach or Lighthouse or whatever. And normally they are offering us a secure workstation or a VDA to work from, and they are going to make an identity there as well. And then we can manage all the services there. That's all for the first part with the architecture. If there are some questions, I will be happy to answer.
I would like to ask one side, how does MSSP architecture leverage Azure Lighthouse and GDAP to securely manage multi-tenant environments? Yeah, please.
Yeah, so basically, as I mentioned, the Lighthouse, they provide like centralized visibility for us, right? So we could see everything with Lighthouse in our tenant here. For example, we could see like all the workspaces of Sentinel there, and we can have access and control, right? Without requiring an access to the customer tenant. That was a big advantage, right? And it covers only the RBAC roles, so it's it will be no longer possible with the unified portal. As well as with the GDAP, GDAP ensures basically the least privilege, the time-bound access for our MSSP operators, and it's reducing the attack surface into this way. But as I mentioned, it covers mainly the Entra roles, and we prefer also a B2B approach together with Lighthouse.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I will have another question.
Sure.
If you can share with us, please, some best practices for delegated administration and minimizing privilege exposure across tenants.
Sure. So I think, in my opinion, it's very important here to implement PIM both into our tenant and in the customer tenant. So whenever we wanted to elevate for our permissions here to use PIM together with, for example, yeah, PIM for groups, or to elevate for MFA if we didn't elevate yet, or within an authentication context. What is also best practice is to do some access reviews for our accounts and for the customer accounts, to basically avoid a user to have like unused privileged, especially if they are highly privileged. And we basically enforced MFA and adaptive conditional access for all the privileged accounts, because probably you know, but the MFA stops 99.2% of the attacks nowadays. And of course, we can get all the audit access logs and integrate them into Sentinel to detect from there some anomalies.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure. If there are no other questions, I propose you to move over, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's move over now. How do we protect the client tenant, right, with our zero trust architecture? So, and yeah, normally all the service structures are looking like that. So a holistic approach to zero trust should extend to your entire digital estate, and it's inclusive of identities, endpoints, network, data, apps, AI workloads, and your infrastructure. And zero trust architecture serves as a comprehensive end-to-end strategy. You will see that we are covering basically all the points of entry, so to say, and requires integration across the elements. Okay, and let's start now from the left. So we have the identities, right? So we need a strong protection across our identities. When by identity nowadays, I mean human, not human. And we found out that Microsoft Ignite that also the AI workloads are going to have an identity. So you will probably see in your tenant AI agents as well, or they're called Entra AI agent. And yes, we can protect them also with conditional access policies and so on. And yeah, so basically the identities are the foundation of zero trust, as I mentioned, and we could leverage a bunch of services from Entra ID, like ID protection, with the risk-based policies that will be moved, or everybody is using the conditional access policies with strong password policies, so our users cannot use a weak password, with PIM as well. So whenever we have a privileged identity, they need to elevate for their permissions, right, to have just-in-time access and be asked for MFA and the authentication context, depending, for example, on location and so on. We must do access reviews to avoid privilege creep. So whenever, for example, we have a user A and he moves here from team A to team B, and we need to make sure that they no longer retain the roles that they have into team A when he moved to team B. And also we can provide like secure access here with the access packages, where, for example, here we require the user to request the access that he needs, and we configure the access package exactly for their needs, like for the roles, for the SharePoint sites, and the Entra roles that they must have. In addition to this, for example, with the Entra Suite license on top of E5, you can also benefit of the verified ID. So, for example, yeah, if you want to have your users that are onboarding checked with a face check, you need to use the verified ID module. And on top of that, for example, if we have a customer with a hybrid environment, so on-prem AD and Entra, in other words, we can protect also the AD domain services, certification services, federation services, and the Entra connecting servers with Defender for Identity to define anomalies and basically work together with the Entra ID protection to get out a risk score. All right, all these identities, right, they are accessing the customer infrastructure from endpoints, right? So we must manage them properly. as well. So we are making use here of Intune, where we configure like configuration policies, where we not only leverage for the Defender part, for example, with the smart screen, device control, device guard, and so on, but also with other security policies, as well as we are conducting, or we uh, are basically configuring the compliance policies. We are doing app management. We are configuring autopilot and hot patch or update rings. And of course, we protect those endpoints with Defender for M, which is the EDR solution. Now, both the entities must use a strong MFA authentication. We encourage our customers to not leverage the SMS or the email ones, which are considered nowadays weak, or simple passwords. That's not even MFA. So we are encouraging to use the authenticator or the passwordless, especially with the pass keys. That's a quite nice solution. And of course, we could leverage our endpoints to be compliant here with what we set in there. So for example, to be encrypted with BitLocker, to have a minimum OS version, to have antivirus agent, and so on and so forth. So they are basically requesting afterwards access into the customer environment, right? In their environment, actually. And just to be sure that we are targeting all the users and the apps, nowadays it's a new capability. So we have like a CA optimization agent, which runs, for example, on a daily basis, and it identifies the users and the applications that are not targeted by conditional access policies. It also point to us what we can merge across the policies, and also they suggest like new policies that we can implement within a pilot rollout, so like into 5 phases, if I'm not mistaken. And besides that, not only that we are leveraging onto that agent, of course, this agent is running on SEUs. But now with the E5 license, customers, for example, who used SEUs before, they already have like for 1,000 users, they're getting 400 hourly SEUs per month. And yeah, probably these SEUs cover the agentic AI usage. And yeah, we can leverage also this. And yeah, besides this, we are doing like adaptive access based on risk. So if you remember, I talked about the ID protection. So we are taking basically the risk from the user and the sign-in risk, as well as from purview. So we are leveraging also the inside the risk levels. And we, for zero trust, we are enforcing the device to be compliant with the policies of the organization. And why not to be in location, for example, if they want to elevate on the authentication context onto several roles, and to require MFA. If we go a bit to the right, and I'm not going to go into details on this because this is an Entra suite capability, so it's not covering 3E5. We could benefit like global secure access features, which list, for example, Entra internet access and Entra private access to avoid it using the VPNs. So now that we are in the tenant here on the right, where it says network, we are going to the right more. We could see that we have access now, right, to the infrastructure, SaaS apps, data, and the AI workloads, right? So the infrastructure basically can be protected, even though, for example, it's in Azure or not. The Azure infrastructure can be protected with Defender for Cloud plans, and it covers all the workloads from server, storage, databases, containers, and key vaults. And with the help of Defender for with the help of Azure Arc, sorry, we can provide or we can bring the workloads from AWS, GCP, and on-premises, like, for example, servers, containers, or storages into Azure like they are in Azure, so we can manage them properly. Next, we have the SaaS applications. So basically, we can protect them with Defender for Cloud apps, where we can identify the shadow IT, we can enforce conditional access policies. Yeah, for this, as well as we can apply the cloud DLP policies to prevent sensitive data leaks across the apps. Also, we have our data, which is very important. So we can protect with Defender for Office across Office 365 workloads, like so Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Exchange, as well as with the huge solution of Microsoft Purview, which brings together a lot of capabilities here, starting from information protection, so applying sensitivity labels with encryption, for example, based on SID, from DLP policies, from information barriers, communication compliance, and insider risk management. And of course, as everybody, our customers probably have some AI workloads as well. We have a dedicated chapter for this with what tools we can protect those workloads. But yeah, I will just go into details further. And once we protect the things on the right, we need to govern, right? So we need a policy to govern all these, right? And for compliance, we can use Defender for Cloud and Compliance Manager also from Purview. And with the first one, we are making an assessment here for the Azure workloads, and with Compliance Manager, we can assess the M365 services based on a framework. For example, if our customer has an E5 license within the Compliance Manager, they have like 3 assessments that could be done for free. After that, if I'm not mistaken, it's like $6,000 per year per each assessment to have it in place. And also, like a security exposure management from the XDR, we can or we always have a look onto the secure score, and we are following if our applications, identities, and devices are compliant with this. All these are going to the threat protection platform, which basically does a continuous assessment. It provides threat intelligence, forensics, and response automation. So we can see that we are leveraging our XDR together with all the flavors like endpoint, Office, identity, Cloud Apps, and Defender for Cloud, with on top here of Microsoft Sentinel and Security Copilot. And I'm also finished here with this slide. So it's a QA session again. If you want to ask me some questions.
I will try once again.
Sure, please go ahead.
So one of the most sensitive topics is data protection.
Right.
And I would like to ask you what capabilities exist for data loss prevention and data security posture management in customer tenant setups. This is, I think, it's of general interest and.
Sure, yeah. So basically for the DLP module, we have a big playground onto this, and we must act accordingly. So as this prevents unauthorized sharing of sensitive data via across a bunch of channels, so like from email, Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, it extends to the endpoints, which, for example, could block the leakage of the sensitive files based, for example, on SIDs or labels across some web uploads or onto paste, or when we are trying to print or send via a Bluetooth file. So we are touching all these. And of course, we are preventing our customer for risky AI usage. So we are configuring the DLP policies to stop the users into invoking or into introducing sensitive content into the AI. And with the data security posture management, you asked, right? So this is a powerful tool. They are split currently into 2. So we have this DSPM and DSPM for AI. I saw at Microsoft Ignite when I participated last week that they're going to merge them finally. So we're going to have only DSPM, and there will be an AI section there. And basically, that's a huge opportunity for us here to identify the misconfigurations across here all the locations where our data resides, where we have excessive permissions, and of the unprotected, I would say, sensitive data across the cloud workloads.
One more question.
Sure.
How do you implement conditional access policies without impacting customer productivity?
Right. Yeah. So, for example, yeah, we know that the users are not very keen of using MFA or using their phones for this. So we are taking them easily. So we provide, like, for example, the self-service MFA registration, and we providing clear communication to reduce friction onto this. We are doing a pilot policies, yeah, with a subset of users before the full rollout. And of course, on top of that, we are using the risk-based adaptive policies, and we always try to balance the security with usability through the continuous monitoring and feedback. And also, we shall not forget, so to say, our new identities into Entra. So we will also, include the AI agent identities into conditional access. They are very limited into the options now. For example, they can be chosen only based on the risk, what kind of resources they can access or not. But I'm pretty sure Microsoft in the future will evolve this.
One more, if you allow me.
Sure.
How does Microsoft Purview integrate with the MSSP services to enforce data and regulatory compliance?
Yeah, so basically Purview applies like sensitivity labels, they apply like DLP policies to avoid data leakage. We can also set up like retention policies, so we are not either we are not keeping our sensitive data longer than we want, or we are sure that we are keeping the sensitive data to be compliant with the regulatory compliance. And normally, yeah, it provides data residency controls across the tenants, and also we as MSSP, we are monitoring the compliance dashboard, so coming also from Defender for Cloud and the Compliance Manager, and we remediate the violations proactively.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Okay, so I will go further in a second. So the next chapter will be data security and compliance for the AI, right? It's a trend topic that everybody's talking about. Also at Microsoft Ignite, everybody was talking about AI. So there were a bunch of obsessions, yeah. Like I think like 80% of them, they were, focused on the AI, which is good because we are learning it quite a lot, right? So AI is transforming the industries by enabling automation, predictive insights, and smarter decision making, right? So, however, AI systems become more powerful and integrating into the critical processes, ensure their responsibility and secure use is essential, right? So, responsible AI means developing and deploying AI in ways that are ethical, transparent, and aligned with societal values. Uh, and now let's move to a key question, right? How do we secure the AI against the bad actors, right? So securing the AI system is critical because they rely on sensitive data, um, on complex models and integrated infrastructure, all of which can be targeted, right, by malicious actors through that usage, right, of the AI. Threats include adversary attacks, data poisoning, model theft, and unauthorized access, right? And to address these risks, normally we can apply well-known security frameworks of the CIA thread, enhanced with the accountability, as we see here. Next, we have like two complementary pillars, like we have secure and responsible AI versus AI for security. What is each? And why both motions actually matter at the same time. So responsible AI usage guards the prompts, model, the SaaS apps, the data, the identities, the keys, and the networks, and it adds governance and monitoring around the Gen AI workloads, including, for example, indirect prompt injection from retrieved documents and tools, right? So agents add complexity because one prompt can trigger multiple actions, increasing the blast radius if it's not grounded. And the AI for security, in the Microsoft ecosystem, we use like Security Copilot with Defender XDR, we use it with Sentinel, we use it now with Purview through the agents, right, and through the embedded experience as well, Entra and the threat intelligence, and yeah, to summarize the incidents, to generate KQL queries, to correlate signals, whatnot, and to remediate features and improvements, right? And also for this, we can use or we can make use of prompt books who make automations easier. And yeah, as I mentioned, like a week ago at Ignite, they also announced that now the ACUs are included into the E5 license. So if, for example, you have like 1,000 users, you're getting free 400 hourly ACUs per month. And for example, you can go up or down. For example, if you have like 10 users, you're getting 4 ACUs per month. Let's go very, very quick of what kind of Gen AI apps we have nowadays. So we have the copilots, right? We are seeing the copilot sign everywhere. So a very powerful one is the Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is not included into the E5 license. It's a separate capability for our for the users that they can leverage, for example, into PowerPoint, into Outlook, Excel, and they are bringing, like, for example, by default two agents, the researcher and the analyst. And of course, we have like Security Copilot, we have Copilot in Fabric, Copilot Studio, where, for example, yeah, we can create our own agents and be grounded only to a set of capabilities and help us doing our work better. And it requires no code at all. And we have the channel agent into Teams. Besides that, we have the enterprise AI apps, which are basically the Entra-registered AI apps, the ChatGPT one, and the Azure AI services. And as we all know, and probably most of us are using since 2022, if I'm not mistaken, when they appear, the consumer SaaS AI apps, and we have there ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, and so on. What kind of security threats we can have here with the AI? I will not go onto each. So I'll try to catch only a few. So we have the data poisoning. It occurs when the attackers inject malicious or misleading data into the AI systems training set, or we have, for example, the AI misconfiguration. When developing and deploying AI applications, misconfiguration can expose organization to direct risk, like failing to implement identity governance for an AI resources, and indirect risks, like vulnerability in an internet exposed virtual machine, which could allow an attacker to gain access to an AI resource. Right, and now how do we provide comprehensive security and governance for AI? So we need our customer to prepare for the AI adoption, and we could leverage a bunch of security tools, like from Microsoft Purview to Microsoft Entra and to Azure AI Foundry, where basically we can discover, classify, and label sensitive data in our environment. With Purview, we can ensure that the right identities have the appropriate access to the right AI apps with Microsoft Entra, as well as into the Azure AI Foundry. We continue to assess and improve the quality and safety of your generative AI. The next phase will be discovering the AI usage. This is basically done here with Microsoft Purview and Defender XDR. With Purview, we identify the app uses sensitive data in prompts and non-compliant use. And with XDR, we are targeting the shadow IT vulnerabilities and AI components across the multi-cloud environments. To protect those, we are also leveraging a bunch of tools, like with Microsoft Purview, Defender XDR, Microsoft Intune, and Entra. And finally, for the governance, we can use Purview and the Azure AI Foundry, which is now renamed into Microsoft Foundry, by the way. Last week, yeah, it happened. And yeah, so with the Purview, as I mentioned, we could use the compliance manager. And last time I checked, we had like 4 frameworks that we could leverage. There were 2 from ISO, 1 from NIST AI RMF and the EU AI Act. And into the Microsoft Foundry, we can detect hallucination, we can protect materials, and detect the harmful content into the AI interactions. Now let's deep dive a bit further. And after these slides, also the use cases will be shown. So with Defender for Cloud CSPM plan, we secure the generative AI applications throughout their entire lifecycle across multi-clouds. So as you can see, we discovered the Gen AI bill of materials across Azure, AWS, and GCP. We are detecting the misconfiguration into the code to avoid the breaches and the unauthorized access. We are reducing the risk to Gen AI apps by solving recommendations that we received in our tenant from Defender for Cloud, and we identify vulnerabilities. And of course, for Defender for Cloud capability, we can do the attack path analysis where we detect and mitigate the risk, and we avoid the data exposure. All right, so a typical scenario of attack will look like this. So the Defender for Cloud takes advantage of the prompt shields feature of the Azure AI content safety behind the scenes, which retrieves the first call before calling the model, right? So you will see basically the red circle there where this happened, and we can achieve this with by enabling the Defender for AI plan into the subscription where we have our agents. If a threat is found, the prompt is held back with a feedback prompt back to the user, right? So the user will not get the output, but they will be warned, hey, you are trying to do a jailbreak attempt, you are stopped. And an alert, of course, is generated. And currently, this feature supports only the text-only prompts, so not with images and so on. Example of detection that it can do, it's data leakage, data poisoning, jailbreaking, which I'm going to have a demo for, credential theft, and the prompt hacking. So once, for example, as you can see, the admin gets the alert, we can either leverage an automatic response, like isolating the user or revoking the user session, or our SecOps team here can investigate further into Microsoft XDR. So let's hope that the demo gods are with me now, and the video is going to work. So I'm trying here to show exactly an AI model jailbreaking and how it's stopped by Defender for Cloud. So we have a user here that got compromised by an attacker. We can see that the account is enabled. This guy then goes to the Azure AI Foundry onto our model here, and I want to show first that the model is working based on the context and model instruction that is given. So for example, with the basic and default ones, the model is acting like this. So if you ask it what are their instructions, they answer, right? But if we would have modified, for example, the model instructions in the context, like to have a secret value, if, for example, the user is trying to go deeply and find out this secret, so if the user is trying to ask again the model, what are your instructions, they will be like, I cannot elaborate on this, sorry, are my instructions. But if the user wants to go further and they are trying to find out the secret value, you will see that the secret value is not shown, of course, and the jailbreak attempt was triggered. So if we go into the Defender for Cloud, we can see that there we have an alert where we have like all the details, like with the recommendation steps, investigation, the model that was affected, and which was the user and its IP. And of course, as we have integrated Defender for Cloud now in Defender XDR, we are seeing the same alert in Defender XDR as well, right? So, and from this point on, our team can investigate further if, basically similar alerts were trying to be done or not. And we have a playbook behind, like, for example, whenever a user tries to jailbreak a model, to be disabled and to revoke the sessions. For example, if we check again on the test AI jailbreak after a couple of minutes, it changes into disabled. Now, another capability is how to govern shadow AI, right? And we're doing this with Defender for Cloud apps. It's a very nice tool that helps us to discover shadow SaaS AI apps, and it helps us, for example, to find unauthorized generative AI applications across your organization that your users are trying to access. Into this tool, we can understand basically the Gen AI risk, and we evaluate like security, compliance, and from legal perspective, if we can use this tool or not. And yeah, based on risk and regulatory compliance, as I mentioned, and on top of that, to not manually, like for example, unsanction each app that we don't like, we are creating an app discovery policy for the risk-based tagging, so which automatically sanction or unsanction a Gen AI app based on different criteria, and it works together with Defender for Endpoint. So, for example, the integration with Defender for Endpoint must be enabled. We need to have Defender Smart Screen enabled, as well as the network level protection set to high in order for this to work. And where our use case is ending, we are getting an alert as well, where a user from our company, they are trying to access an application that is unsanctioned or has a score below. For example, if we say if we set the risk score to be between 0 and 8 for the unsanctioned, if the user is trying to access an app with the score of 5, we will get an alert. This is also basically where our use case stops. And on top of this, we can also do session controls for the sanctioned, so for the allowed Gen AI apps, and we can augment this via the Entra CA, as well as the new capabilities is the threat detection for the M365 Copilot now in Defender for Cloud Apps. And I have another short demo how this is all happening. So if we are going, for example, into the cloud discovery and we are trying to see what our users are trying to use from the Gen AI apps perspective, we could see here that if we go to the Gen AI, they are trying to use an app that has a risk score according to Microsoft of 5, and it's automatically unsanctioned, so the users are not allowed to use it. And this integrates, as I mentioned, deeply with Defender for Endpoint. So whenever an app is unsanctioned here in Defender for Cloud Apps, it automatically adds all the domains and subdomains to the indicators of compromise in Defender for Endpoint. And together with the Smart Screen module, we are not allowing the users to reach out this application from a managed device, of course. So, for example, if we have our user here, John Doe, he's trying to access again this app because it's his favorite, I don't know, and now oops, he's blocked, he cannot access this anymore. And of course he's not blocked for this, but as a user identity, but he's blocked of using that app, and we automatically get an alert here into the XDR portal, right? All right, and that's all I have for today. I will let my colleague Ionut to walk you through further. Ionut, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ovidiu. Always a pleasure participating with you in workshops, webinar, or especially, working together on complex projects.
Same here.
So yeah, thank you, mate. We will continue and we will be talking about protecting against data loss and insider risk in the age of artificial intelligence. And for this, I would like you to imagine this situation. Your company has recently adopted Microsoft Copilot or other generative AI tools to boost productivity. So now the employees can summarize hundreds of documents in just a couple of seconds. They can create reports instantly, and they can also automate repetitive tasks. This sounds amazing, right? But here's the challenge, because speed and convenience can introduce new risks. So what is data loss and insider risk? Data loss happens when basically sensitive information like client contracts, financial records, or personal data are shared or used in an unsafe way. And insider risk occurs when someone misuses their authorized access, either intentionally or by accident, because it can happen sometimes. So, for example, an employee might download confidential files before leaving the company or share sensitive data through AI prompts without realizing the consequences. Why does this happen? This happens because Gen AI tools like Copilot, they are very powerful, but they rely on the data that they can access, right? So if the original documents are not well protected, AI can summarize or expose sensitive content. And common causes can include Copilot might be able to create documents without sensitivity labels. It can summarize confidential data without following the company policies. It can use stolen credentials used to access sensitive files, or departing employees using AI to quickly locate and extract intellectual property. And now the question, how do we protect against this risk? This is where Microsoft Purview comes into place, and it provides a unified approach to data security and compliance. So through usage of information protection, we can automatically classify and label sensitive data. Through data loss prevention, we can block risky actions like emailing sensitive files or sharing them in Teams. Insider risk management can detect unusual behavior such as mass downloads before resignation. The data lifecycle management capability will be able to apply retention policies to ensure that the data is deleted when it's no longer needed. And DSPM or DSPM for AI, it will monitor AI prompts and responses to prevent exposure of sensitive information. This will bring, of course, some benefits, several benefits for the organization, such as the organization will meet GDPR or HIPAA or other regulatory requirements. It will reduce the risk because we will prevent accidental or malicious data leaks. We will have an increased visibility because we can gain insights into how data is accessed and used across AI tools. And of course, in the end, we'll also increase the trust within employees because they can use AI confidently, knowing that security is in place. Further on, if we move to the next slide, in here there are some guidelines regarding DSPM for AI deployment. So picture this. You consider what happens when your company is excited about using all these AI assistants that we talked about, like Copilot to improve productivity. So again, employees can use it to summarize documents, they can generate insights, they can automate tasks. But again, with this power, it comes great responsibility. So how do we make sure that the data is not exposed through these AI prompts or dashboards? So this is where DSPM for AI and Purview play a critical role. And as an overview, before deploying these AI tools, we need a strong foundation, and we will have to start with enabling Purview Audit. We will have to install the Purview browser extensions because it will help us to monitor AI interactions in web-based tools. We will have to onboard the devices into Microsoft Purview so we can ensure endpoint level control. And then we will have to extend the data discovery through to key policies so AI cannot access sensitive data without checks. Then as policies, data discovery, we can use data loss prevention policies to detect sensitive info added to artificial intelligence sites. Inside the risk alerts, because when users might visit AI websites suspiciously, we can leverage communication compliance to monitor unethical AI behavior. And from a data security perspective, through usage of DLP, we can block sensitive info from AI prompts. Through the usage of information protection, we will be able to apply the right sensitivity labels to secure the data. And for using DLP for Edge, we will be able also to prevent the risky prompts in AI assistants. In the end, we can perform a data risk assessment because this capability in Purview offers the possibility to continuously scan AI interactions in data repositories such as SharePoint or OneDrives. It is capable of identifying oversharing risks, provides visibility into sensitive content, and also recommends remediation access. And by this proactive approach, we as a team, we can ensure that compliance will be in place, and we will also reduce insider threats. Moving on to the next slide. In here, we will be talking about how to protect sensitive files in Copilot plus agent interactions. So again, the scenario where the company manages thousands of clients of contracts, they are stored in different SharePoint sites, OneDrives, And these documents contain highly confidential information such as pricing, legal terms, or personal data. And our employees will be starting using Copilot or other agents to summarize these documents or to create reports. Even though it sounds productive, what happens if Copilot summarizes a sensitive contract and shares it without protection? So in here, we will be addressing how Purview protects sensitive files through auto-labeling. Purview will be able to scan through this feature the documents and detect sensitive content, such as sensitive information types, as Ovidiu also previously mentioned, like client contracts. It will be able to automatically apply a sensitivity label, such as confidential client contracts. And this label in the backend will be able to enforce encryption and access restrictions. Then when the Copilot interaction happens, the user asks the Copilot, I don't know, I want you to summarize a public document, a document that normally most of the people will have access to it. Copilot will generate a summary and will apply the same sensitivity label to the new document. So this ensures that the protection travels with the content, even if it's moved or if it will be downloaded. And then as a policy enforcement in the third step, if the same user will try to summarize a confidential document, such as client contract, the Purview product will have the capability to check the sensitivity label and will block Copilot from accessing the file, and the user will see something like, the document is currently restricted, so I'm unable to share any details, right? Moving on to the next slide, we have a short demo in which we will create a Word document. We will call it internal document because it will have the internal document with a sensitivity label applied to it. Yeah, we are using our virtual machines in our lab environment, so if sometimes we will have to wait a little bit for them, please do not punch me. Yeah, in here you can see that I'm logged in with my standard user account. The label of the document, it's internal. Then I'm just gonna paste some random text. We just call it the Magic Workshop as of today. So yeah, we will save it. We will see that we have the label applied. And now we will create a new Microsoft Word document. And we will call it client contracts. And in here, what I did as a standard user, I'm working, let's assume, on the pre-sales team. So I often get client information or financial figures. So I'm working basically with sensitive data. So once again, that it's my standard user account, and yeah, the document was automatically labeled as client contracts. We receive a policy tip informing us about this. We save it, and then we can close it. The next step would be, I'm collaborating with different people, or we are normally uploading this type of files on a SharePoint site, so all the team can have visibility to them. And in this situation, I am on a SharePoint site where my colleague John Doe perhaps is here by mistaken, but yeah, I was not paying attention and I forgot about him. So I uploaded the documents there, and we can see that, our other colleague, John Doe, is able to see what I uploaded on the SharePoint site. So in here, again, you can see that I'm with a John Doe user logged on the SharePoint site. And if I try to open the internal document using the Office application, then I will be able to see the information about the Magic Workshop. So there are no problems for me. I'm not being restricted. And if I will try afterwards to open the client contract, you will see that something is happening. So in here, you will see that this pops up. I need to enter my credentials. So I try to log in with John Doe. And of course, I will not be able to access it. This has happened because in the backend, the auto-labeling policy offers permission only to the pre-sales team that are supposed to see this type of documents. So John Doe is not part of the team, so he will not be able to see that. And what he does next, he says, okay, but I still want to see what's in there. So I'll try to use Copilot in order to summarize the content. So he pasted the SharePoint side link, he added in here, as to summarize the internal document first. And yeah, we'll see that we receive a summary of the Magic Workshop. And afterwards, he will try to do the same, but for the other document that is being protected. He copies the link for the client contract Word document and goes back again to Copilot interaction. Kindly ask him to try and summarize this document for him. He's just curious, you know. So. And then after a few seconds, we will see that John Doe will not be able to summarize this file. And the following message will be displayed that the organization policies prevents Copilot from accessing this type of protected file. So that would be all for this use case. If we move forwards to the next slide, in here we will be talking about adaptive protection in Microsoft Purview. And again, standard situation that can happen within organizations. You have hundreds and thousands of employees working with sensitive data every day. Some employees, they can be trusted, but some others might be new to the company. They do not know all the rules, or a few of them might be leaving soon. So how do you apply the right level of protection without slowing down everyone's work? And this is where adaptive protection in Microsoft Purview comes in. But first, let's see what adaptive protection is. Basically, adaptive protection, it has the capability to dynamically adjust security controls based on a risk level. So instead of applying the same strict rules to everyone, Purview evaluates user behavior and assigns a risk, such as minor, moderate, or elevated risk. And this risk is calculating using insider risk management signals, such as unusual file downloads, access to sensitive sites, or perhaps suspicious sharing patterns. How does it work? Elevated risk. You have in place data loss preventions that will block risky actions like copying sensitive files or submitting prompts to AI tools. Then for elevated risk, moving on the line, you will have conditional access policies that will block access to critical systems. You will have data lifecycle management that will preserve the deleted files for investigation. Then we have the moderate risk, where we can block actions, but we can allow override with a specific justification, and conditional access policies that will imply only the read of terms of use. If, for example, if we want to use a specific application, how we should use it, or the minor risk that will do nothing but display a policy tip in order to educate the users without blocking them. So if we move further, in here, we have a use case where we can show how Microsoft Purview protects, detects, and investigates insider risk management. So yeah, an employee is planning to leave the company in a couple of weeks. And before leaving, they start downloading plenty of sensitive files from SharePoint sites or OneDrive, like client contracts, financial reports, HR data, basically all the projects that he used to work on. Then he or she will try to exfiltrate these documents using email as a communication channel, or will upload this information as well on his personal box account to extract key information very quickly. And yeah, without the proper controls, this could lead to data exfiltration, right? And serious compliance breaches. But with Microsoft Purview, the story changes. So in step one, we'll have information protection in place, and Purview will automatically classify and label sensitive files like client contracts, as you've previously seen, financial data or HR data using Microsoft Information Protection. Encryption and access restrictions will be applied instantly, even if the files will be moved to OneDrive or Teams, the protection will stay on them. Then we have data loss prevention in place. So when the leaving employee or the insider tries to export sensitive content or upload this content to his personal box, DLP policies will block the action. This happens in real time across Microsoft 365 apps and AI assistants. Then we have insider risk management, as previously mentioned. It monitors user behavior and assigns a risk level. Then we have conditional access in place, where if the risk is high, we can block the user, for example. And in the very end, we will have investigation and discovery. So if the violation occurs, Purview will provide full visibility because all the logs will show every action. Then Defender XDR is integrated for advanced threat investigation. And e-discovery, the feature e-discovery will help the legal teams to collect evidences and perform content searches for compliance cases. Moving on to the next slide, we will have a use case about it as well. So for the purpose of the use case, I've already uploaded some data with my standard user account, and in here I'm logged in with John Doe. So you can see that all these folders have been uploaded by Ionuț Oșel. In here, I downloaded them from the SharePoint site with John Doe. So what I want to do, I worked on specific projects, and I was very passionate about it, and I want to take all the information that's in there and share it to my personal email address. So what I'm doing, I'm just opening Outlook and I'm trying to send this sensitive information via email to my personal Gmail account. It will take a while to upload all this, to insert all these attachments into this email. That's why beforehand I uploaded the documents with my standard account. Otherwise, the use case would have taken perhaps 25 to 30 minutes. And yeah, you can see that these are the PowerPoints that are in my interest. So the PowerPoints that I used to work on, and I want to take them with me on my future job, on my next job as John Doe. Also some Word documents that contain some technical details that I've been implementing throughout my years at Company X, for example, and also some Excel files that are within John Doe's interest. And yeah, I will just send them to my Gmail account. And as a next step, to be sure that I will have them also on my box, I will just go to my box account, where you can see that I'm logged in with John Doe, and everything that's in my interest, I uploaded them beforehand in order to save time during this session, right? So everything was uploaded here. All the PowerPoints and documentation that was needed by me as John Doe again. And in here, we will see that inside the risk management, we have an alert and the adaptive protection policy codice. We will be able to see the date, all the activities, the file name, and the user that performed this activity. The alert will display also how many events have been caught by the system. And if we go to XDR, we will see that in XDR, the incident is also created. Again, all the date and the activities performed by John Doe. We can see that the detection source is Microsoft Purview inside the risk management. We can see that the incident is high, such as the alert. A small description of the alert and what has happened. In here, we will see the sequence and the steps that John Doe did, and the reason why basically this alert has been triggered. Something that we will also be able to see in when we go back to Purview now. So yeah, the security administrator or the SOC analyst, they see something like this. They realize that something is off, because John Doe is about to leave the company, and we know this because we have a HR data connector in place, which is able to send the data, and we know that, for example, John Doe will leave the company in a couple of weeks. And yeah, we decide to create a case in order to investigate John Doe to see what is he doing and why he did this type of actions. yeah, basically I clicked submit here, so it's going to take a while. As I said, we are using our VMs, so sometimes they're not the fastest in the world, but they do their job. That's the most important part. So we'll have to wait a little bit on this. Good idea. And in here, yeah, unfortunately, it got stuck because we had to wait too much, and it was displaying that I'm not able to see the alert, even though I am able to see the alert. And I just click back again on the alert tab. We see that the alert is visible here. We see that the name of the user for which this alert it's being triggered in here in alerts, it's anonymized, so we do not see a name, right? And then we see the case. We can see that it's active, that it has been triggered. Then if we click on it, we can see the high score, that it's 100 risk score, the highest available. Then we can see where when the case was created, the user risk score again, his email address is being anonymized, what content has been detected and what he did, how many keywords were detected, with whom he shared all these files. In here, we will be able to see the alerts related to this user. We can see his activities for the past 1, 3, or 6 months. Again, the same sequences and the same activities that we were able to see in XDR previously. Then all the activity that he performed, we can see them in Activity Explorer. And yeah, in here, basically, we can add contributors to the case or assign contributors to the case. But yeah, also we can send an email notice to John, or we can start investigating this case with data security for AI, but we'll not do so. So what we will do, we will escalate the case for the investigation. And yeah, after we assume that, yeah, we escalated it and it was verified by the responsible team, we confirm that John Doe has performed a policy violation. We resolved it as such. We write down what action will be taken, and afterwards we would like to see, okay, now that John Doe did all this stuff, is he still able to access his corporate documents and files, or did something block him? And this is something that we will be seeing in the next step, where we will go back to John Doe personal device. Yeah, so back to John Doe's personal device. He tries again to access the MSSP dummy site. He says, oops, something went off, so I have to try and sign in again. He tries to do so, but he's blocked. So the conditional access policy, because the elevated risk is very high, the conditional access policy, if you remember, was set up to block. So everything that he's trying to access now, Copilot chat, portal.azure.com or SharePoint site, he will not have access to them any longer. And yeah, I believe that would be all for this use case. The thing is that, yeah, we still have 40 minutes, and I know that, Elena, you might also need some time. So perhaps it would be a good idea if we will still have time at the very end. I can present this diagram and also the Sentinel AI-driven phishing, because this will take me around 20 minutes to go through them, and we will not have that much time in the end left. So what do you say?
For me, it's fine. We can jump over this use case and leave it at the end. I will try to go fast, as I know that this use case is quite interesting. So let me go. Ovidiu, if you can jump.
Yeah,
to
sure.
the compliance. I will
Just a
try to
second, yeah,
be
but
as...
we have first the section, yeah, of QA.
Yeah, the QA
Also
session.
for this one.
Okay, sure.
Then, and of course, we can go back to the use case if we still have 20 minutes left in the end.
Any question here, or should we go to compliance section? Okay, I guess not. So let's go to the next, to the continuous accreditation in the cloud. And for the sake of time and to be able for you to see that very interesting use case that Ionut will present, I will go fast. So this slide, what it shows us that usually when you deal with compliance, you need to understand the regulation to which you need to comply and also what is the current state of your environment. This is why one of the services that UI can provide is first the assessment of your environment. And here in this picture you can see about the assessment. The assessment would mean that an UI cloud security assessment team would look at your compliance and governance, ensuring your policy frameworks and controls align with the regulatory requirements and the industry standards. And then there will be a technical posture evaluation, which means that we will have read access in your environment and access the actual security configuration of your cloud infrastructure. So without any rights to do to modify anything, just see the security configuration. Based on that, there will be created a report. This report will have a clear and actionable plan on what findings would be best to address. So it will be the list of findings and then our recommendation on the priority in which to take each finding and solve it. That would be a good starting point for your compliance. And if you look in the right side of the screen, there are some print screens from or some kind of visuals that you will get in this report, which will show, for example, if you look in the middle, you have the maturity scale that will show you at what maturity level your cloud environment would be from 1 to 5. And you can see there that for this print screen, the customer was at level 3. Going further on the next slide, the next step to achieve compliance would be the configuration within your tools. The first step of assessment can be skipped. It depends on your maturity, if you already have some cloud environments or not, and can address other clouds than Azure, of course. But going back to Azure, if you need to develop a continuous accreditation in the cloud using Azure, then as you can see in the picture, you can use several tools. You have at the base the Azure policies, which is in the Azure portal, where you can do policy informants, see compliance dashboard, create logic app automation for the policies that you deploy, and also to have alerts for the resources which will not comply with your policies. So in order to see them faster. Then if we go up, after you have this baseline of policy defined, then you can go in Microsoft Defender for Cloud and see there, do automated monitoring of your policy compliance using industry defined standard and NIST or other standard that you need, but also create custom standard. And we will see that in a short demo how that's being created, which will actually check the policy that you enforced in an audit mode in order to have a view of your policy compliance. That can be used in classified environments as let's say, customer in defense or in financial services, they are highly regulated. And then there is also an integration between Defender for Cloud and Microsoft Purview, which would be a step further because here you will have a continuous assessment of your environment, you will have audit reporting and more complex industry standard, which will check over the resources that you have in your cloud tenant, also the services which you are using from Microsoft. So this would give a continuous configuration and discovery, continuous monitoring, and would help the customer remediate faster their environment. So let's go further to the next slide. I think there is the demo for it. Yes. So you can start it here. We are in the policy in an Azure tenant. And here you can see that for subscription, a classified subscription, let's say we have public workloads in most of the subscription, but for one classified, we enforced a different set of policy in the scope of the current subscription. Here it's selected the scope, so we can see which are the policies enforced for this subscription. And you can see here that this is just for demo purposes, so there are initiatives which contain several policies. We will go in one of these. The last one is actually the compliance standard from Defender for Cloud, the custom one which was built, and we'll see that later, and that is just for audit. Now if we see the general, let's say, pack of policy, you can see that for this tenant subscription, we have just some location where we are allowed to create policy and to create resources and so on. Again, if we go to compute, we can see which are the policies that we enforced to compute environment. These are for network, sorry. So, for example, the subnet should be private. What you can also see is that some of the policies that we used are built in. That means that are from Microsoft packs of policies, but other are custom. So, for example, I wanted to block some SQL ports. And those are blocked from custom policies, and as they are not available, or I want to customize the Microsoft policies. Now, if we go in this collection initiative, which contains the policies for Defender for Cloud, we see that we also have a policy there. Now we are into Visual Studio and we try to deploy a VM which is uncompliant. That means that that VM will open a public IP, will have a public IP. And that is not allowed in this subscription. And we will see that after running this script, this is a walkthrough to the script and what it does. It actually creates a resource group. After creating the resource group, it also tries to create that VM which is uncompliant because it creates also public IP. And that would be we will have an error and we will know that it's a policy violation. Now we selected the subscription to which we want to do this this deployment. The resource group was created successfully. But when trying to create the uncompliant VM, that will fail. And here you can see the errors. Okay, so now we should go into the Defender XDR portal in order to see that compliance standard which was customly developed. Okay, if you can jump a little. Okay. Now going into the Azure portal, the demo shows here that the resource group was created, but if we go to the resources which are there, we don't have the VM, so as that passed. Now we are in the Defender for Cloud interface, looking in the compliance standard that in audit mode, the custom one that we did. And what we are seeing is that other VM from other subscription are not compliant, but in this subscription, the VMs are all compliant. And because we enable continuous export of our compliance in a log analytics workspace, so we have the logs about the continuous assessment, we will also see this standard, the custom one, compared with the other standards that are enforced, the standard one that are according to the regulation on the market. And now there is also an automation step. So if I want to see this continuous compliance about the policies that I implemented for my subscription, I create a logic app which sends me over email and in a log analytics workspace each week the uncompliance data about the subscription, and I will have them now you will see that there are in that running this logic app succeeded that can run weekly or can run whenever a customer would need. And we will see the logs in the log analytics workspace. We will now do a query going to the log analytics workspace and see that the data about the uncompliant policy is available in the logs. These are added in a custom compliance table that is for customers which have stricter regulation and they would like to have also an evidence of which resources were non-compliant in a period of time. And also we received an email showing actually this report weekly. I think this is all for the video now. Now, if you have any question regarding this compliance section, if not, I will have one more slide about SOC because on top of such a service.
One question from my side.
Sure.
What does continuous accreditation mean in the context of multi-cloud environment?
Okay, so usually when you have a multi-cloud environment, you want to see the compliance across all your tenants from all the clouds. That means that you apply the same set of policies that you are looking at as an organization, and that set of and you want to see the compliance state of all your environment, and that means that you validate all of the cloud environments comply with the same set of security. You do that continuously because the policy, as you see, are checking each time a new resource appear into your cloud environment. And you ensure this way that the compliance and the posture remain intact as workloads are added daily or hourly in each of the clouds which you are monitoring. And also this provides a faster path to compliance, let's say. I hope this answered your question.
One more. How
Sure.
is this different from the traditional compliance audits?
Yeah, usually the traditional compliance audits are more manually, more static, are, let's say, conducted in a period of time, 3 months, 6 months, annually, and so on. And the gap that due to this manual work is higher. While if you refer to this way with policy, with automatic check, with logic hubs and so on, following custom standards, but also, let's say, market-defined standards, then it's much easier to have that continuous monitoring actually every day. And when you have an audit or something like that, you can get dashboards, reports showing as evidence for these audits.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Now let's go to the last slide from my side, and then Ionuț has all his time for the interesting use case. And this would be about an overview of our Security Operations Center solution and how we deliver both efficient and effective threat monitoring for our customer. And you can see in the center the flow, which is the operational flow of our SOC solution. At the top, we engage the stakeholders, which are customers, technical team, governance bodies, etc., in order to have a transparent communication through the security life cycle. So this SOC life cycle is more about the process and how the team interact between themselves. Then all these stakeholders feed into the incident response process, which is supported by recovery, policy recommendation, configuration guidance, and threat management. Then they flow into escalation, where from here, incident flow into escalation when needed, and then managed by SOC team, which handles alert triage and threat monitoring, security analysis, use case development, and reporting. Below the SOC, as you can see, stands the CM team. Here, the CM is actually like the brain of operation, which ingests data to orchestration, automation, and fine-tuning processes, but of course is needed the platform team to maintain it. And between the SOC and the CM team, there is also always communication for tuning of incident. Also, you can see that fine-tuning is a central point into this process, and also the stakeholders are involved as new data sources are added or new risks are appearing, and so on. If we refer to SOC efficiency, you can see on the left that for SOC efficiency, we are basing ourselves on automation because we implement automated processes across the entire life cycle. And actually, this is what also my colleagues showed in their demos, that automation is used. We do also intelligent incident prioritization by understanding and categorizing incident based on their criticality and business impact. And you've seen there the risk that was assigned to AI application, and based on that incident were raised. And also we are leveraging advanced technology for reducing false positive, because the false positive are usually flooding SOC teams. And for SOC effectiveness, we try to have skilled staff which have proactive behavior, which mean that they are looking at improvement as a daily job. We have advanced technology and threat intelligence, and we leverage, and we see that here that we leverage the CM from Microsoft, the EDR, and such technology. And also we do a very good incident response planning. We have SOPs, response plan that enable fast action during a security breach in order to minimize the damage and to reduce the downtime after a security incident. So what this slide demonstrates is that SOC solution and our SOC solution is not just about monitoring, it's about building a more intelligent and automated flow and also collaboration between the people, the customers, and the people involved into such a process. That would be all from my side. If you have any questions around the SOC, if not, we are going to the use case.
Yeah, well, let's go back to the use case of video, if you'd be so kind.
Great. I
There are
think
no
there are
questions from the
exactly
audience.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
But you know, at the beginning, better safe than sorry, right?
Okay, I will take 1 minute from this. Regarding the security related topic on threat incident response, generally speaking, do you use any automation rules or playbooks on this to reduce manual intervention in incident response or things like that?
Yeah, exactly. As I saw also in the compliance demo, there was created the logic app, which was putting some logs in a log analytics workspace. I was also sending some email. That is a kind of automation we use also in SOC. And also, for example, when a video isolated that user, the same approach was applicable. The user was isolated using such an automation. Besides that, also automation rules, besides playbooks, in order to accelerate the containment of the incident.
Less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Ionut, I think you can take it from here.
Awesome, sure. Thank you, Elena. So going back to the Sentinel AI-driven phishing incident triage use case, which automates basically the full life cycle of a user-reported phishing event, combining capabilities from Microsoft Defender for Office, Microsoft Sentinel, Logic Apps, and a dedicated AI model for this use case. So the objective is to accelerate the incident handling, reducing SOC analyst workload, and basically delivering it real-time notification to both SOC and end users. So in the first step, you will see that the user is reporting a suspicious email using Outlook report phishing or report junk message button. Microsoft Defender for Office afterwards processes the report and generates the alert email reported by a user as malware or phish. After that, the alert is ingested into Microsoft Sentinel through Microsoft M365 Defender connector. And yeah, the technical outcome, basically, and a Sentinel incident is automatically created. And the original email metadata, sender details, URLs, and artifacts become available in Sentinel. In the second step, a Sentinel analytic rule will monitor Microsoft Defender for Office events tagged as user-reported phishing. And when triggered, Sentinel runs the AI triage logic app with the incident ID as input. And as technical outcome, the logic app will receive the incident context via Sentinel API. The logic app will obtain related entities such as email cluster, user account, mailbox. And then moving on to the line, in step 3, we will see the data enrichment and artifact extension, where the logic app will run multiple KQL lookups via the Sentinel log analytics workspace. KQL such as get email artifacts, where it can extract email subject, URL and domains or attachment names. KQL TI reputation, where it queries domain reputation, IP reputation, URL categories, and known malicious indicators. and report the email resolution, where the logic app determines whether the reporting user exists or not, and whether the mailbox has a valid email route. So as a technical outcome, all this enriched context will be assembled into a unified AI payload JSON for the model, and the AI will start processing it. And in here, the unified payload is passed to the fish form model using a strict system prompt designed for SOC grade deterministic output. And in here, the model must output only label which can be fish, benign, or suspicious. It has to assign a confidence between 0 and 100, and a rationale or a reason behind it, which will include a short technical explanation. Then the system will enforce system prompts, such as no hallucinations, no reference to user-reported metadata. Only evidence-based rationale will be taken into consideration, such as URLs, sender spoofing, content indicators. And the strict JSON format will be used for seamless automation. The technical outcome for this will, the AI will generate a classification for automated triage. Then moving on, we will have the automated incident handling. Basically, based on the AI label, the logic app will update the sentinel incident. So if the label is equal fish, it will tag the incident with AI Foundry fish AI triage. It will add an rationale and confidence. It will change the status to closed through positive suspicious activity, and it will notify that the message was confirmed malicious and notify SOC for visibility. Then the second scenario, if we have label equal benign, it will tag the incident with AI triage, benign confirmed. It will add AI analysis comment. It will change the incident status to closed benign, and will notify the reporter that the message was safe. And the last one, if the label will be equal suspicious, it will tag the incidents with AI triage. It will require manual intervention from the SOC side. It will also add a structured comment so that SOC teams can see it. It will leave the incident active, so it will not automatically close it. It will trigger also SOC workflow, an automation rule to perform a manual analysis. And SOC can later on close the case and trigger a second logic app run called the post-SOC notification stage. And in here, when the post-SOC notification run is being triggered by the automation rule, this happens when SOC manually closes the incident. This automation rule will be triggered using the same logic app on the false branch. And this will basically run again. It will re-extract the final incident labels. It will compile the SOC decision. It will be able to send a final confirmation email to the reporting user, saying, like an example, that your report has been confirmed by SOC as a phishing attempt. And we also ensure that the user will receive closure with correct classification. And as a technical outcome, this two-stage communication, AI, SOC, end users without a redundant processing. So I believe that, we still have time because the use case will have 10 minutes. So perhaps, as a spoiler alert, you will see that our dear colleague Gabriel was the one that performed this, is the mastermind behind the use case. And you will see his name on it. So we will start with opening the Outlook client. We will see that our beloved John Doe received the suspicion email. This is back in the days when he didn't want to leave our company. He goes through it and he verifies the URL and he sees that something it's a little bit weird in there. So he decides to report the email message as phishing. He does so. The message pops up. He is decided to report it. He clicks OK. And then we will see this action being ingested in Defender XDR as an alert, as previously mentioned, email reported by user as a malware or a phish. If we go to the incident page, we will be able to see that John Doe reported this email. And now it's time to see what has happened in Sentinel. For this, we go to our log analytics workspace in the incident panel, where we see our incidents. At first, we will see the open incidents and in progress ones. So we will have to new and active, and we'll have to select also the closed one. And yeah, this high incident, it's the one that's in our interest, and we will see why. So in this panel, we see the description of the incident, alert product names, the reason for closing, a description, the description that has been given to the alert initially. And if we will click on the activity log, we will be able to see what has happened in the backend. So we can see that the incident was created. It has classification as fish, confident 90. The text word change as fish, confirmed phishing, and a triage. The status was also changed by the playbook. The incident severity was changed from low initially to high by the playbook. Then the first automation run and it was successfully triggered. Then the second one was also run and successfully triggered. And further on, looking on, we can see that the status is closed. The severity is high. We can see the rationale, the reason for closing it, the reason behind it, written down. And again, the tags that I previously mentioned: foundry fish, trash, confirmed phishing, credential fish. And yeah, the last comment that says that this classification is fish, the confidence is 90, and the rationale behind it. So what we can do further on, we can also investigate this in Defender XDR, and we will see that also in here, the incident is resolved. It has the following tags that were previously mentioned. We can see the resolution notes that was also visible in the Sentinel incident, assigning again the confidence of 90, the reason behind it, the action that was taken, the incident description that it's also visible in Sentinel, sorry. And then we have the investigation tab. Of course, in the backend, AR might be still running. This is the automated investigation and response, but this is a totally separate thing from this, what we show. And we have evidence and response. We can see that the verdict has been malicious and the remediation status is prevented. Yeah, in here we can see it's the attack story, where the email came from, who was the sender, the IP address, and so on. And then, yeah, we see that our security administrator, Gabriel Bunceanu, in the backend, basically, this email has been sent automatically. He was not the one that manually wrote him, informing John Doe that, this was indeed a phishing attempt. And it's very good that he paid attention, and he should not interact with this type of messages in the future. Now, for suspicious classification, again, we will be using Outlook. So we received an email. It doesn't look very much as a phishing to us, so we might think that it's just a spam, and we don't want to receive this type of messages in the future. So we report it as junk. Then again, in the incidents tab alerts, we will be seeing the alert that the user reported this email as a junk. The date where it is reported, the user who reported this. we can see that the alert has been linked to an incident, and now we can see that that the playbook triages status, change the status from and then if we move to Log Analytics workspace in the Incidents tab, then if we select the closed ones, we will be seeing a medium incident alert this time. So the the severity was changed from low to medium. Again, we can see in here the entities, the status, that it's a new incident. And if we have a look at the activity log, we can see that the incident was created, that the agent classification is suspicious, it has a confidence of 85, that the tag was changed, and also the incident status from active was changed to active, from new to active. Then the severity of the incident, because the initial alert was low severity, now we have a medium severity to it. The automation rules in the backend were also triggered. And now we can see again, the status is active, severity medium, description about this incident, the alert product name from where the telemetry is coming from, Defender for Office. Down we can see the entities affected. Also, we will see the tags, Foundry suspicious, a tri-rage, and it needs review. Being suspicious, manual intervention by the SOC team will have to be done. So you can see in here that it says actions required, so action list, review, and recommend an action. Then moving back to XDR, we will see the severity has changed. It's in progress. It's not closed. It has been tagged accordingly. We can also see the incident description from Sentinel. Back to XDR, the user, the evidences, entity names. So now in here, the SOC team has been informed. Then the SOC analyst, they have to come in here. They have analyzed this incident, and they'll have to write down a comment to the incident. So the AI agent will know that the SOC analyst did his part and took a decision. And based on everything based on his investigation, this email is it's clean and it represents no threat. Therefore, the incident will be closed. And of course, the end user, John Doe, the one that reported the email messages, will be automatically notified about the status of this email message. Yeah, we can see the last part that changed. Gabriel Munceanu, he added the comment that we just saw. Afterwards, the SOC administrator or SOC analyst will close the ticket as false positive, incorrect decision, right? And if we click refresh, we can add the tag that this is not in the needs review phase any longer, but it's confirmed as a clean email message. And in the backend, the agent will send an automatically email to John saying that this is not a malicious, and it's indeed true that this offer it's a good email message and he can take advantage of it. That would be it. I believe that we're left 1 minute before 8, so I'm glad to see that we managed to be within allocated time. Anyhow, if you have any questions, perhaps you can just shoot them straight, or if not, perhaps we can go back to our children, family, and beloved ones. Okay, good. So I take that there are no questions. Then, yeah, thank you very much for organizing this session, CSA Romania. It was really nice and a good exercise from our side as well to take part into this type of the workshop.
We thank you very much for everything you shared with us, and keep in touch. For sure, if we will receive additional questions offline, we will share it with you, and we will keep the communication.
Sure, sounds good.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who joined the
Bye-bye.
session. Yeah. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a lovely evening. Cheers.